This is the Kia e-Niro, the electric version of the Kia Niro. That is already available as a inbuilt hybrid or as a plug-in hybrid, now the fully electric version. And the interesting thing is, well, it's supposed to start at 35,000 euros with a smaller 39 kilowatt hour battery, but there's also a bigger one, 64 kilowatt hours, and that one then supposed to deliver you a range of 485 kilometers or 300 miles. Those are the most important basic facts about this very vehicle, and it is very seldom because so far there are so many very expensive electric cars on the market, like those 100,000 euros cars. Pretty cool when we spin around, right? That you can first see the front, then the side profile. But we still lack some affordable electric vehicles, and this is surely one of them. And actually, this one, you know, this with his new WLTP driving cycle, the figures should be quite close to what it really can deliver. And you can see the design is not really that different to that one of the normal Niro. You can check the normal Niro review on Autogefühl as well with the driving part. Here again, you know, with those LED tail lamps, horizontally drawn. It looks a little bit box-ish, the car, but then again, it already delivers you a lot of room on the interior. That's actually the advantage. So this one is a car that not goes, let's say, the exterior design all the way to make it super aggressive or sporty and then lose some interior room. This is really one that is also supposed to be very practical on the inside. We'll soon take a look on the inside once more again. But this one here, a very interesting aspect on the motor show as well. Even sporty from the driving performance, because if you pick the bigger battery pack, have even more horsepower output, and then we'll have a 7.7 seconds acceleration to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. 4.33 meters or 14.5 is the total length, by the way, just to mention that. And let's see how much room we get on the inside and if it's any different than the normal Kia Niro. So here on the interior, we had leatherette at the inside of the door, then hardpack materials here, but good window levers, pretty slim door pocket, optional JBL sound system. Then those seats look quite good. It's a could be a leatherette. I'm not really sure. They were offering it at some point. It depends on the price list. With some color accentuation, especially for the e-Niro. Typical compact Kia steering wheel. And then we get some electric gauges that you can also see when the car is recuperating, so charging. By the way, they promise also to have a 100 kilowatt hour fast DC charging for this very vehicle. But I always say it's more important that you actually have just a normal household plug maybe at home, or then even better, a wall box that you can charge the car. Well, it is basically an existing car, and therefore there are also not so many surprises on the interior. Electric seats, manual steering column control. With the shifting pedals, you change the recuperation then, how strong it should be. Already says here in the symbols, that's pretty easy then. So you don't have to get used to drive an electric vehicle because it's pretty much, you know, a common vehicle. You sit also pretty much upright. It's like a crossover style. I'm 1.86 or 6'1", and that leaves you still plenty of headroom right there. And you have a good view to the front. I've already told you in the normal driving review, it is a very good car because it has a decent price-performance ratio. It has a lot of room on the inside, although it's not big on the outside, so you can very well use it even as a tall person. Interior overview, you have soft touch on the top of the dashboard, that's cool. Then this infotainment system, well, it offers you all the functions, for example also the navigation, but it's pretty weird because you cannot, for example, really pinch and zoom. It also takes a lot of time to calculate and stuff. And it's really not the best software, sadly. They should really update that meanwhile. However, usually you would just go for the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and use that system then when you plug in your phone. That will be better for you. The AC unit, it's still pretty classic and it really feels good. It's good quality and you can easily reach it. It's a self-explanatory car. I like that. Again, the compact steering wheel from this perspective. On the right side, you can set the cruise control and also control something of those digital gauges there in the front. And they look a little bit more, you know, spaceship-alike than in the normal car. USB socket in the front, There's another one right there, one for connecting, one for charging. There's also a QI symbol, so you can also inductively charge your phone right there. 12-volt power supply. And then this is also special for the EV mode or the EV car. The parking, the D and the N. It's a special drive selector then for the electric mode. And there's even a cooled seat available. Last but not least, you have foldable armrest with some cup holders. You can also adapt them a little bit. And an armrest with some more space inside, also with another USB socket, so they've thought about enough charging possibilities. It is for sure not a super fancy car, but everything is right where it is, and you already know then from presenting it in a static way that you can very well use this car in an everyday driving situation. And now let's get in the rear. And this is really superb. Again, it's a short vehicle, and well, to put your feet under the seat in front of you, the driver should put the seat a little bit higher, then it's fine. But other than that, you have enough legroom still left. You know, it's maybe not the most comfortable rear seating position, but you have so much room. Again, over your head, no problem. And that's why I can use this car in so many different situations. You can also flip the seats then from here in a 1/3, 2/3 split. That's how it looks like. Then there's a middle armrest right there with cup holders. They're not adaptive, so kids, look out, don't spill it. Isofix on the outside of the seats. And here in the middle we have a 220-volt full plug. And this should probably also work maybe for recharging a laptop. But again, why don't they create it in a more open way that also MacBook chargers can actually be applied there? This could still be a problem, but I mean, at least they thought about something, using also the electric power from the battery in this case. Very versatile, the car. It just stresses the fact that it's really a very well usable car for everyday driving life, which is again not so expensive, but already full electric available. So and let's open the trunk, manual hatch, and wow, again, wow. I mean, we had really good legroom, and then we still have a long trunk left. This is maybe a little bit wobbly, but still okay. It's not too bad. We can surely live with that. Then here we have still some room left. Could even be, you know, fitting a replacement tire in there. And again, when I flip the seats, how we can see the maximum loading setup. Here we go. I just have to say, with this vehicle, respect. 134 horsepower is the output with the smaller battery, by the way, and 204 horsepower is the output with the bigger battery. And indeed, we find an engine in the front here. Well, the reason is it is a platform that's also used for a combustion engine. Therefore, they also put the electric motor in the very front, and you can see how much less space it actually takes. The charging port, by the way, here is in the very front. That makes sense when you park in a frontal-way, maybe in a basement garage, and you have your plug just right there, or maybe also at the wall box. There's always a discussion, what is the right point? I think it's also good to have maybe one on each side, but to the front, it can make sense in a lot of situations. What do you think about it? And by the way, the whole car here, the electric version, here also in a different color, it sits 25 millimeters higher, and so they gained some height in there, put the battery below that, also added some step towards the rear end. And the reason for that is also that you do not lose any space in the trunk, also not in the height. You even gain some liters on the boot capacity. Pretty amazing. And as for the conclusion for this vehicle, it's basically standalone at the moment on the market. If you look at the price-performance ratio, and especially at the range figure, considering the size of the battery. There are cars with bigger batteries and maybe even higher range. But getting this 485 kilometers or 300 miles from a 64 kilowatt battery in the higher spec battery version, that's pretty unique and really speaks for the vehicle. Looking forward to drive this fully electric version here now. And I think this one, from the overall concept, what it's offering. Yes, again, not the most attractive car because it's not a super sports car, whatever. But from what it is offering, it is surely one of the best cars here on the motor show today. What do you think?